in a mind, museum, velvet synapse, curtains parting, phrase mason, pacing through Maryland gardens of thought starting, turning barb jargon into soft warnings, warmed and heart in these bars draw clean arcs through the dark where the panic was parked in. Half monk, half medic, I lace antiseptic phrases, let the rhythm become a hidden clinic for renewal in stages. When danger was perfume and smiles through familiar faces, I decode as disguised to dissolve it inside the matrix. I load practical lessons and acrobatic syllable explosion, place maps inside snaps, little manuals hidden in motion, so casual listeners receive medicine through emotion, while saboteurs sink past the shoreline of devotion. Mantra mechanics in motion, I calibrate meter, vacuum the static from language till the signal turns cleaner. When a false motive sleeps in disguise as a feature, I rinse it through truth and return it purified through the speaker. Imported parasite patterns lose shape against kindness. I walk armored and calm so that sharpness arrives spineless. I fold widescreen designs in a fine line fineness, so sleepers still stumble on a lifeline inside this psycho spiritual athletics and rhythmic arrangements. I notice tiny wrong angles and friendly engagements. If venom hides behind warm eyes and private exchanges, I plant silent corrections that soften and reframe it. Nerve code technician, I monitor pulses, turn tremors into notes that the higher mind consults with. So when hallway whispers attempt to define me as cultish, their captions peel off. My centered field dissolve, get dream walker drills in nocturnal arenas. I map every mask in the theater of hyenas, so by morning when fake care leans close like it mean ya, I have changed the frequency and upgraded receivers. Breath taps like coded percussion, controlling reactions. I break pressure into puzzle-sized pieces for action. Reroute fear through accents into adaptable patterns till ambushes lose access to old alleys collapses. Silent allies align through the chambers of lungs. One low tone rolls down bone ladders and hums. The room turns luminous through harmonized tongues. A shield made of breath between hatred and young. Any intrusive persuasion soaked in abusive confusion gets cooled by communion and a refusal of collusion. No revenge in the engine. Contribution is movement. Every offering roots to the chess theater. Silver curtains parting. Sound sculptor stepping through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I convert hard language into warm logic guarded by heart, and then chalk on footpaths through fields where old terror was parked. And half priest, half surgeon. I dread fluorescent phrases. Let the drum become a classroom for renewal in stages. When threats wear jokes and grin from neighboring faces, I scan, separate, and delete them from the matrix. I pack survival instructions inside precocious explosions. High keys and hi-hats, small tactics, surfing emotion. So bystanders catch blueprints through passing emotion, while traders lose footing on sandbanks near devotion. Deep focus cadence mechanics, I'll be angled the meter. Straight grit from the grammar till the meaning gets cleaner. If a shadow agenda paints itself like a feature, I unmask, unhook, then eject it through the speaker. Borrow parasitic doctrines, fold flat against kindness. I wear patience like plate mail that strikes become spineless. I tuck horizon size designs in a miniature fineness, so half awake hearts find a lifeline inside this. Neuroanalytic gymnastics and rhythmic arrangements. I catch hairline fractures and polished engagements. If malice sits masked inside private exchanges, I breathe one quiet bar that corrects and reframe it. Impulse field technician, I read micro pulses, turn flinches into counsel the inner elder consults with. So when gossip collectives try to label me cultish, their lens cracks quick, my posture already dissolved it. Moonlit discipline inside lucid arenas. I study the footwork of social hyenas, so by daylight when they act like the wound really mean ya, I have named every pattern and retune receivers. Breath clicks like soft drums governing reactions. I compress chaos into puzzle-sized actions, send charge through accents as flexible patterns, so traps fail to pull me through corridors collapsing. Quiet allies breathe law through the altar of lungs. One note travels low where the spinal cord hums. The walls bloom bright through synchronized tongues. A mercy made membrane between spite and the young. Any invasive suggestion mixed with abusive confusion gets dissolved by agreement against all collusion. We trade payback for service, contribution stays movement. Every true seed returns as collective improvement. Skull chapel, blue black curtains part and lexicon garden. I'm walking through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I melt pit of jargon into brave meaning, softening heart, and then lay calm railroads through regions where dreaded parked. And half therapist, half thunder, I break therapeutic phrases. Let bass become a bridge toward renewal in stages. When harm hides in humor and borrows familiar faces, I expose the costume, then erase it from the matrix. I store grounded instruction and tongue twist explosions. Nest habits and ad-libs play strategy under motion, so loose listeners catch ladders through casual emotion, while sabotage drowns past the dunes of devotion. Metronome mystic mechanics, I tune up the meter. Dust static off syntax till perception runs cleaner. If control enters quietly pretending its feature, I seal it in light and remove it through the speaker. Clinging parasite mindsets break open with kindness. I wear fairness like armor. Aggression turns spineless. I hide panorama plans and delicate fineness, so distracted ears still find rescue inside this psychodynamic footwork and rhythmic arrangements. I spot coded discomfort and cheerful engagements, and envy blinks bright during private exchanges. I write inner subtitles that correct and reframe it. Somatic signal technician, I audit the pulses, translate jolts into guidance, discernment consults with. So in secretive circles attempt to sound cultish, their storyline slides. My stillness harness dissolved it. Astral training rounds in lucid arenas. I track the dramatic appetite of hyenas. So when daylight actors cry pain like they mean ya, I switch channel, change range, and cleanse receivers. Breath rides a hidden kick drum, steering reactions. I split burdens into rational pieces for actions. Rewire axons with elastic response patterns, so no snare drags me back to alleys collapsing. Calm companions gather alignment in lungs. One healing vowel drifts through the spine as it harms the air. Grows golden from unified tongues. A living mercy door for the hearts of the young. Any hostile persuasion laced with abusive confusion gets neutralized by humans refusing collusion. We leave vengeance behind. Contribution means movement. Each clean intention becomes structural improvement. In the thought cinema, crunching curtains part. In my mind, I'm marching through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I reshape rough jargon till it lands less hard and more hardened. Then carve safe tunnels through places where fear got parked in. Half rapper, half robot, I weld luminous phrases. Let the groove act as shelter for renewal in stages. When danger wears manners and hides in polite faces, I trace this wiring and unplug it from the matrix. I cache practical upgrades and rapid fire explosions. Slip maps and the snare claps tactics, riding emotion. So passing ears pick up training through emotion, while saboteurs lose signal outside my devotion. Frequency engineer, I measure the meter, polish the sentence surface till the reflections grow cleaner. If a covert script slides and market it as feature, I tag it, bag it, and cast it out through the speaker. Parasitic paradigms turn paper to near kindness. I wear justice like sunlight, the daggers go spineless. I conceal cathedral designs and filament finest, so simple heads still meet a lifeline inside this. Clinical lyric athletics and rhythmic arrangements. I detect micro betrayals and pleasant engagements. If spite speaks through compliments and private exchanges, I place healing parentheses around it and reframe it. Autonomic technician, I inventory pulses, turn body alarms into data the wise mind consults with. So when whisper campaigns try to crown themselves cultish, their rumor rope snaps, my balance dissolved it. Lucid night work in symbolic arenas. I measure the appetite behind grinning hyenas. So when daylight masks lean in like they mean ya, I protect the antenna and sharpen receivers. Breath drums underneath thought, conducting reactions. I sort storms into puzzle parts fit for actions. Redirect acts on traffic into resilient patterns. So old traps collapse before alleyways collapse, and allies stand wordless, synchronized through lungs. One tone turns to bronze when the backbone hums. The room grows wings through collective tongues. A soft fortress raised around innocence young. Any mental intrusion wrapped in abusive confusion gets clarified by unity, rejecting collusion. We plan service over payback. Contribution keeps movement. Every rooted act rises as future improvement. Appear in the breath lab, transparent curtains parting. First album is patient through cartilage gardens of thought starting. Out of still harsh jargon into brave truth, tender and heart. And then more current constellations where anxiety was parked in half seer, half scientist. I sterilize phrases, let tempo turn to therapy for renewal in stages. When danger paints itself behind sympathetic faces, I separate mask from motive inside the matrix. I load secret practice into elastic explosions, hide mantras or murmurs, tactics tucked in emotion. So casual crowds catch compass points to emotion, while saboteurs fall through weak flaws of devotion. Precision mantra mechanics, I tighten the meter. Watch noise from the noun forms till the vowels feel cleaner. If an agenda slips forward disguised as a feature, I reverse its charge and return it through the speaker. Parasite thought forms lose oxygen around kindness. I wear composure like chainmail, the blows become spineless. I compress skyline blueprints into jewel-like fineness, so tired minds locate a lifeline inside this cycle. Acoustic athletics and rhythmic arrangements. I read unsaid mathematics and human engagements. If spite glows faintly through private exchanges, I encode quiet medicine to correct and reframe it. Bioelectric technician, I listen beneath pulses, transform startle reflex into wisdom the soul consults with. So when click-based myths try to mark me as cultish, their label burns off my grounded aura, dissolved it. Nocturne calisthenics and lucid arenas, I shadow the shadow, play stage by hyena. So by sunrise when false warmth insists that it mean ya, I already adjusted the heart's receivers. Breath moves like brush drums, regulating reactions. I turn crisis into puzzle stones, then steps into actions. Recode actions with adaptive pattern, atlas patterns, so nothing can herd me towards streets collapsing. Friends form a circle with prayer in the lungs. One note floats under ribs till the marrow hums. The chamber shines brighter from disciplined tongues. A canopy woven between cruelty and young. Any coercive suggestion laced with abusive confusion gets undone by consent, never bending to collusion. We build instead of retaliate. Contribution is movement. Each generous spark becomes generational. In a dojo, storm cloud curtains parting. Speech samurai cutting through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I turn weaponized jargon into counsel, soften and harden, then draw safe circles where the shot used to be parked in. Half elder, half engineer, I forge protective phrases. Let the groove operate like medicine in renewal stages. When smiling danger leans out from attractive faces, I identify the strain and extract it from the matrix. I keep practical wisdom inside scattershot explosions, hot habits and breath gaps, slide routes within motion. So casual heads catch guidance through emotion, while saboteurs lose balance on fault lines of devotion. Man, protect discipline. I adjust the meter, comb static from speech till the channel runs cleaner. If a buried command comes disguised as a feature, I strip off the costume and send it through the speaker. Viral parasite logic dissolves before kindness. I wear discernment as armor that volleys go spineless. I tuck mural-sized meanings into needlepoint fineness, so light listeners discover lifelines inside this shadow. Work acrobatics and rhythmic arrangements. I catch nervous misfires and friendly engagements. If Spike shakes hands during private exchanges, I draft quiet amendments that correct and reframe it. Pulse field technician, I study the pulses, translate chestnuts to wisdom the spirit consults with. So when side room whispers try to make me sound cultish, their script loses glue, my clean posture dissolved it. Dream combat catters in lucid arenas. I watch the feeding patterns of elegant hyenas. So by day, when they touch wounds pretending they mean ya, I firewater channel and brighten receivers. Breath tap secret rhythms to discipline reactions. I slice panic into puzzle pieces, then process actions. Send currents through axons and upgraded patterns, so ambushes fade near doorways collapsing. Trusted allies breathe circles through lungs. One tone finds the spine and patiently hums. The room pours light through collective tongues. A sanctuary standing between rage and the young. Any hypnotic intrusion wrapped in abusive confusion gets canceled by clarity, refusing collusion. We choose repair over revenge. Contribution is movement. Each brave repair becomes cultural. Immersion, the glass atrium, hidden curtains parting. Image poet moving through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I turn rigid jargon into calm meaning, lucid and hardened. Then light the old corners where suspicion I parked in. Half counselor, half cartographer. I map curative phrases. Let the beat become a compass for renewal in stages. When menace speaks softly through borrowed faces, I triangulate the source and erase it from the matrix. I fold practice and prayer into rhythmic explosions. Place healing instructions beneath everyday motion. So quiet observers catch anchors through emotion, while saboteurs fall short of the temple of devotion. Sacred cadence mechanics I regulate. Need a clean interference from language till its circuitry's cleaner. If a counterfeit purpose dresses up like a feature, I make it confess, then release it through the speaker. Parasite pattern and freezes on contact with kindness. I wear inner authority, their strategies turn spineless. I embed city scale schematics and hairline fineness, so even shallow scanning finds treasure inside this trauma. Literate footwork and rhythmic arrangements. I notice covert contracts inside social engagements. If spite hides a needle inside private exchanges, I so safe for meaning around it and reframe it. Signal body technician, I follow the pulses, translate nervous sparks in a council the heart consults with. So when murmuring factions try to frame me as cultish, the outline melts down, my coherence dissolved at night. Vision training across lucid arenas. I track the rehearsal of grinning hyenas. So when daylight actors fake warmth like they mean ya, I have turned down their volume and tuned my receivers. Breath plays muted drums that govern reactions. I shrink conflict into puzzle pieces for actions. Reroute acts on pathways into flexible patterns, so no ambush can guide me. The structures collapsing, companions keep rhythm in prayerful lungs. One chord travels downward and quietly hums. The room opens, sky through the choir of tongues. A luminous border for protecting the young. Any invasive narrative laced with abuse and confusion gets dissolved through consent that refuses collusion. We answer harm with construction. Contribution stays movement. Each conscious action becomes lasting improvement. To the Thor planetarium curtains of midnight parting. Starscript artists and walking through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I turn cold jargon into warm instruments, tuned and heartened, and score calm music where the old dread was parked in. Half philosopher, half physician. I balance the phrases, let bass lines become bridges through renewal in stages where danger hides inside carefully rehearsed faces. I search the source code and delete it from the matrix. I hide practical scriptures and polyrhythmic explosions. Place discipline in triplets, small rituals in motion, so everyday ears catch instructions through emotion, while saboteurs trip past the lighthouse of devotion. Attention, train mechanics, I level the meter. Wipe static from symbols till the sentence feels cleaner. If a parasite motive shows dressed as a feature, I name its disguise and release it through the speaker. Predatory paradigms go quiet before kindness. I wear conscience as armor that courage turns spineless. I tuck panoramic secrets into miniature fineness, so ordinary listeners find lifelines inside this pattern. Reading athletics and rhythmic arrangements, I clock small deviations and pleasant engagements. If spite breathes low inside private exchanges, I leave coded refrains that repair and refrain it. Reflect system technician, I measure the pulses, translate survival sparks in the council the elder consults with. So when whispering actors try to script something cultish, their drama dissolves. My calm already dissolved it. Lucid patrols through moonlit arenas. I trace the hunger behind banquet hyenas, so by dawn when they touch your ache like they mean ya, I have purified the wiring inside my receivers. Breath moves like soft code managing reactions. I saw agony into puzzle steps and grounded actions. Rearrange axons into refuge shaped patterns, so no snare sends me back through avenues collapsing. Aligned allies gather with fire and lungs. One sacred syllable travels and hums. The room grows whole through braided tongues. A living covenant between hatred and young. Any coercive signal filled with abusive confusion gets met by a circle immune to collusion. We make service the engine, contribution is movement. I rob a Subinac in the soul steer, the black curtains parting. Cold lyric artists and pacing through cartilage gardens of thought starting. I turn harsh transmissions into brave counsel, human and hardened, and being calm pathways through sectors where fear was parked in. Half android apostle, half healer, I transmit the phrases like the roof become a sanctuary for renewal in stages. When danger laughs sideways through counterfeit faces, I scan its frequency and quarantine it from the matrix. I stash practice protocols and plasma quick explosions, hide habits and base kicks, root tactics through motion. So casual listeners catch up grades through emotion, while saboteurs short circuit outside my devotion. Cyber mantra mechanics, I sharpen the meter, scrub static from data grammar to the soul print is cleaner. If a hidden agenda uploads itself as a feature, I firewall the file and expel it through the speaker. Parasite programs glitch hard before kindness. I wear justice in chrome, their assault code goes spineless. I hide widescreen features in microscopic fineness, so even low volume listeners find lifelines inside this quantum psyche. Athletics and rhythmic arrangements, I detect false harmonics and smiling engagements. If spite rides encrypted through private exchanges, I rewrite the subtext to correct and reframe it. Nervous network technician, I synchronize pulses, translate human tremors into wisdom the system consults with. So when whispering clusters try to label me cultish, the algorithm fails, my moral posture dissolved it. Neon night walker training in lucid arenas, I trace data bite patterns from corporate hyenas. So by day when they monetize wounds like they mean ya, I change encryption keys and upgrade receivers. Breath sync to sub-bass percussion, controlling reactions. I compress fear into puzzle-coded rational actions, reroute axons to future-proof adaptive patterns, so no ambush can drag me to timelines collapsing. Circle of allies online with alignment in lungs. One signal runs deep through the spine till it hums. The whole room turns radiant through unified tongues. A living firewall between hatred and young. Any intrusive program laced with abusive confusion gets debugged by humans refusing collusion. We don't execute revenge, contribution is movement. Every clean transmission builds permanent improvement. Two steps through the mind vault, velvet curtains parting, glyph forge roaming through college and corridor, spark starting. He bends blunt language into bright lanterns, softening hardened and maps calm escape rules through zones where old panic was parked in. Half sane, half scientist, he sterilizes phrases, lets the drum act like a hidden hospital for renewal in stages. When danger wears charm and borrows familiar faces, he scans the smile code and burns the mask from the matrix. He plants practical wisdom and staccato star explosions, hides keys in the kick patterns, small rituals riding emotion. So background listeners inherit blueprints through emotion, while schemers lose breath in the deep waters of devotion. Focus, forge mantra mechanics, recalibrate meter. He scrapes rust from the sentence until the mirror reads cleaner. If a buried control script impersonates a feature, he strips his credentials and vents it through the speaker. Predatory thought forms go brittle around kindness. He wears mercy like media metal, their weaponry turns spineless. He folds whole sky systems into needlepoint fineness, so passing minds still discover lifelines inside. Shadow literate athletics and rhythmic arrangements. He clocks tiny tremors beneath polished engagements. If spite leaks through silk tones during private exchanges, he writes soft counter currents that correct and reframe it. Biosignal technician, he studies the pulses, turns startle reflex into counsel the inner core consults with. So when corner room rumors try to crown themselves cultish, their theater folds flat as quiet balance dissolved at night school navigation through symbolic arenas. He marks bite patterns left by velvet mouth hyena. So by daylight when false care touches wounds like it mean ya, he has cleaned every wire and retuned receivers. Breath taps coded drums conducting reactions. He mills hard pressure into puzzle grain actions, reroutes charge through actions with shelter shaped patterns to old traps fall silent near stairwells collapsing. Trusted allies sit wordless with prayer in lungs. One vow walks downward till the backbone hums. The air turns cathedral through disciplined tongues. A living veil held between harm and the young. Any invasive suggestion wrapped in abusive confusion gets clarified by kinship refusing collusion. No thirst for retaliation, contribution stays movement. Every clean deed becomes ancestral improvement. It's ground purification in the starting, 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 in the starting.